Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is I'm getting there, you stupid phone! My name is Meisterbloo, and we're back with Chapter 1, Onikakushi of Higurashi no Nakokoto ni. Whew, we're nearing the end, so let's keep going. As I was going to get them, the phone rang once again. Hello, this is the Maibara residence. Oh, is this Keiichi-kun? Is your mother around? She isn't here at the moment. You idiot, Keiichi Maibara. Don't reveal that your parents are gone. You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it. I think she'll be back pretty soon. That wasn't a good response either. They might say they'll call again, or to tell her to call them when she comes back. Then that's fine. It wasn't anything important. Well then, sorry for the bother. The scenario I feared didn't play out, eliciting a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with more telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I needed to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They were making tempura and couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. It was like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They'd suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize that it was. But since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted up the receiver. Hello? I stopped announcing that this was the Maibara residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted. Hello, my apologies for calling so late. This is Oishi from the Okinomiya bookstore. Oishi-san? Is that you, Maibara-san? Good evening. Good to hear you're doing well. Wait just a moment, please. I grabbed the portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. Rushed up to my headset. It was the same no matter where I was since there was no one else home, but I wanted to be in a spot that just felt a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san. Sorry for the wait. How are things? Anything changed since then? Since then? When was that exactly? There was something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. The last time I spoke with Oishi-san was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school, I met Oishi-san on the way back from the hospital, and we headed down into town for lunch and had a talk. Then after that, Rena and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out by them as well. Hello, can you hear me, Maibara-san? Huh? Oh, sorry. What did you say? I asked if anything's changed since last time. There wasn't an answer, so I got a bit worried. Not really. The words stopped in my throat. There was a ton of stuff that happened. All of it baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I may never have another chance. This night when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all. Well, Oishi-san, it seems like someone is after me. Really? I could tell just by coincidence. It could all just be a coincidence, but that day I missed school when I was sick, the two of them came to check up on me. Which two? Rena and Mion. They started asking about how I had lunch with you. What next? They left me some mochi when they came to visit, but there was a needle inside. Fortunately, I somehow didn't swallow it. I wonder, could that have just been a threat? About the needle? It was just one of those common sewing needles you see all the time. There was a hole to thread string through. Not that, Maibara-san. The needle itself. That's evidence. It could be used as proof that they threatened you. Where is that needle? That's right. That's it! I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I had overlooked it out of terror, but that needle was a valuable piece of evidence. My nose itches! I had certainly thrown the mochi and needle at the wall, together. If it was there, then it would be on the living room wall. But my prudent mother had cleaned the living room wall, and there was not a trace of the mochi left on it. Could it be that I dropped it in the gap between the wall and carpet? I frantically searched by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desks, pulling up the carpet and then flapping it around, but I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It was just 2 days ago. I didn't know what day they had collected the burnable trash, but it may still be in the trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen, opened up the lid of the pail, and poured out the contents. But even at a glance, I could tell that it would be incredibly difficult to find a needle in this pile of trash. I was looking for a needle in a trash stack. It's not funny, Keiichi. You almost died. I know. I'll try running my hand through it. It was a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I'd be able to find it. It was a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath and started striking the pail of the trash with my hand. Or pile of trash. Filth flew about. There was nothing more disgusting than this, but it was not the time to be concerned about such details. I continued on for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. I shouldn't keep Oishi-san waiting for long. Later, when Mom got back, I'd have to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on the notepad affixed to the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? I scrawled the words with a red pen. Ear. I'm having a lot of ear problems lately, you guys. I then dashed back up the stairs where I had been keeping Oishi-san waiting for far too long. Hello? Oh, hello! How did it go? I couldn't find it. I was really overwhelmed back then and... I see. It would be great if you could find it. Keep it safe. That's right. The needle wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run. Also, Oishi-san, that isn't all. Actually, this morning, that van was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances at the time. Did you see the license plate? I can search for it from here. Damn. I just flipped out yelling at him back then, but I didn't look at the plate. What failures on my part with the needle and the plate number? I was so focused just protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was. I'm sorry. I don't know much more than that it was a van. Nothing to fret about, my Bara-san. Anyone would be shaken up after being hit. I guess all of this really isn't a coincidence, is it? Oishi-san started to hem and haw over the other end. I could imagine him folding his arms. Also, Rena is acting strange. How so? What Rena said on the way home today, asking why I was so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say with confidence that Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew that there was more to it than just him simply disappearing. Rena knows. She knows something regarding what happened to Satoshi, the kid who was demoned away last year. What would that be exactly? Rena said I was the same as Satoshi. She said something to the effect that the way things are going, I'll end up with the same fate as Satoshi. Fate, you say? Exactly what kind of fate did she say would befall you? Transferring out, she said. Transferring out? Rena said Satoshi transferred out, so given how things are going with me, I'll transfer out too. Oishi-san let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly. My Bara-san, that was probably some sort of threat, or maybe some type of warning. I thought so too. At that point, I started to think, would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as the machinations of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Oyashiro-sama's curse actually existing as the only other explanation. Of course, I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Except, Rena's strange behavior could be proof of either scenarios. Whether it was Oyashiro-sama's curse being real or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all of the villagers, Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Oh no! The yawns! Sorry. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? I couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. I seem to recall that Oishi-san had admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He was probably just downplaying it when he said a little, meaning he had actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened at her previous school, among other things that were still unknown to me. If Rena was somebody I should suspect... No, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I had lost the security I felt I had just by my parents being around. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they'd easily gain entry. There were no other residents close to the Maibara residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I had never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wondered if I would still be here by tomorrow morning. So I had to ask. Right now. Because I had no idea when the next chance would come. Oishi-san? I have something I wanted to ask you about. Please don't keep anything from me. Sure, ask away! Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, this was the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask about Rena. About what happened at her previous school. Actually, regarding Rena's... I noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. Since I was so focused on the call, I hadn't paid attention to it at first, but I finally realized it was the doorbell. The time was 7 o'clock. It was past the time the postman would be making a delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all the work I put in making it look like my parents were home. I needed to answer the door. Hello, Maibara-san! Sorry, someone seems to be at the door. I'm going to see who it is. A guest? I see. My apologies. Should we end this phone call now? That would be a problem. No, I'll be back in a second. Do you mind if I just leave the phone on? It's fine, I don't mind. Oh, he's like a big uncle. I dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down to the door. I needed to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called right before Oishi-san did. In which case, that was a lady. In which case, it would be one of the neighbors who's friends with my mom. I'll just say Mom isn't feeling well and went to bed early. That would be the easiest option. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. If someone didn't answer the door after you rang the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside, I had prepared for this moment. I tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with, one of my mom's friends. Good evening. Rena. There shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour. The timing also made me feel uneasy, because it was just as I was about to ask Oishi-san about Rena. I wish I could have just chalked this up to mere coincidence. But those unsettling words from Mion several days ago echoed back to me. There's nothing this old man doesn't know. Ugh, creepy. Are you alone, Rena?
Yeah?
It seems that Mion wasn't with her. But that didn't change the situation at all. Why did you come here?
Hey, Keiichi-kun? I'd like you to open the door so we can talk. Can I come inside, I wonder?
It was true that speaking through a chain door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate. But at my house, the chain has to be on at night. Don't worry about it.
Then it can't be helped, I guess.
Rena pouted rather sadly.
It was so sad.
If you all know how this whole story, the entirety of Higurashi plays out, you know that this is so sad. It's killing me because I love Rena so much. But she kept smiling at least, and her efforts to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. Why am I yawning? I don't get it. I have not gotten it the entire playthrough. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared, more than the possibility that hoodlums would assault me if I removed the chain, was trusting Rena enough to remove the train. Or the chain. The train! Remove the chain, and having my friendship betrayed. As long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. Since it didn't seem like I'd removed the chain from her silent urging, she appeared to give up on trying to get into the entranceway.
Have you eaten yet, Keiichi-kun?
No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't here either, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home and was woken up by the phone, and didn't have a chance to eat since I used up all that time talking. I was going to have cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted to. No, not yet. What about it?
Oh, she's so happy. Then good. Look here. I brought a bunch of dishes.
Rena held out a stack of boxes wrapped in a cloth.
If I could use your kitchen, I can heat the stuff up. I can heat up the miso soup and other stuff.
It's fine. You don't need to do that.
But there's a lot of tofu and vegetables in it. Does Keiichi-kun not like that type of stuff, I wonder?
There's no way I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup with lots of ingredients. White radish, carrots, burdock root, and potatoes, dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks incredible.
I also brought rice, so if you microwave it, you can eat it really quickly.
Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese. Don't tease me! I wish I could have Japanese food every day. It's so good. I love chicken katsu curry. So good.
Also, I made some more pickles. I made sansai pickles this time.
Ooh, what's that? That sounds... I don't know what that is. I want to know what that is. I'll look that up after the video. Before I had moved here to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai. But I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep yet light flavor. The vegetables from the supermarket were tasteless and bland compared to these. If you had to describe them, then they were the vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake of sansai. It was common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were, they'd go so well with that fluffy white rice.
And also...
But wait, there's more? So delicious. It just seems so delicious. Farewell to my unhealthy self who said he'd make to do with the cup of noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits, and she was offering such a delicious-sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut, and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, my wariness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. Though the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. And that's where I'm going to call it for this video. I'm going to continue on right after this, after I fill up my water again. So thank you all for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video because we're getting near the end, and... so sad. It's not even scary right now. It's not even scary anymore. This scene, I don't know if I've actually said it, but this scene is, in my opinion, the saddest part of all of Higurashi for me. It's the saddest part because when you find out the truth behind this episode, this story, when you find out the truth about Chapter 1, it makes everything 20 times sadder, and this is the saddest part. Trust me on that. I will see you all in the next video, so until then, everybody, peace out.